Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Enjoy this Goldylocks Productions presentation of the Joyful Findings Show with your host, Melissa Parks.
Woohoo, you guys. Welcome back to the Joyful Findings Show. So glad you guys could join me today. I have my special guest with me today. As you can see, he's hiding in the background a little bit. Nathaniel's going to be joining us today and bringing forth a lot of information from the planets and the stars and all that fun stuff because he's my astrology friend. And he's going to be rolling some dice for you guys later. So if you guys have any questions or comments, it'll be the roll of the dice today. So just drop your name in the comment box. And as everything's starting to shift and change here, I'm so glad you guys could be a part of this. I'm so glad Nathaniel could be a part of this today because the energy is starting to really propel us forward and very quickly. And sometimes we need just a quick answer or a quick answer to our questions to help us move forward. So let's bring forward my friend Nathaniel. Everyone welcome Nathaniel Glosson, my wonderful friend. Everybody welcome Nathaniel. Nathaniel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey. So astrology is definitely one of the languages that I enjoy when I'm looking at symbolism and the stuff that's going on around us. And so I have kind of decided to fly my kite in the metaphysical world in that way. So I really enjoy the signs, the planets, and all that good stuff. I'm not sure. I'm sure all your audience is, some way familiar with some of that stuff. And then we all have different levels of understanding, whether you just know your sun sign or if you've had a full chart done. But there are so many archetypes that we get experiences from the planets through those energies. And so it's awesome to look at what they're doing at any given time and how that matches up with what we're seeing or experiencing in our own life and in the world at large. So that's what a little bit about me. I live here in Sarasota, Florida, and I have been enjoying kind of taking the show on the road via RV for this second half of the year, and it has been quite an unusual and awesome year. I'm sure everybody has noticed some stuff, and it's been, for astrologers, it's been one that we've had our eye on for a long time. I originally started looking at 2020 back in 2017, and I was keeping my eye on the possibilities, and it has definitely been wide awake.
That it has. And everyone's like on the same kind of roller coaster, not roller coaster, depending on how it plays out for you and your planets, maybe?
Yeah, so one thing, first thing I like to tell people is whatever sign you think you are, you're actually all 12 of those signs in some way. And so when we look at how all of that the whole wheel makes a complete whole, how that is in your life. But then the planets didn't stop moving when you were born. They were somewhere when you were born, but then the transits or the planets kind of moving through the wheel currently, I call like the weather. And so those connections that they're making in live time show us a lot of themes and archetypes that are happening for the collective. They're the weather that's kind of getting experienced and expressed. And then how that lines up with our natal planets is kind of a factor of how we assimilate or digest those experiences and what they bring to the table for us. So, while 2020 has got a big signature in the weather for everybody, it's going to be something that affects each person individually in a unique zone and way of their life according to what it's contacting. So that's kind of how I think about how the astrology is relevant in different ways to each individual. A lot of things that we can look at with it today, if you'd like. I can definitely look at today's weather and give an idea of what the energies are currently doing. And then there is kind of a big long-term weather pattern, if you will, that we could take a look at. And like you already offered, anybody that would like to, hey, I've got a question or a situation that I could use a quick zap of electric intuitive insight. I've got planetary dice with the planets, the signs, and the houses. And we put that together to mash up the archetypes into a theme that I'll express and translate for anyone that needs. So that's a fun way
we'll definitely be rolling the dice and getting some questions answered for people, because the dice sometimes know better than we do, right? There's no control there. It's whatever rolls over for you. But yeah, run us through what's going on with the energies of the planets for today and in our near future forecast.
So, and one thing I'd offered to do, if I can share my screen real quick,
Absolutely, go ahead.
I will show people what I do. Let's see, my entire screen application.
Nice. As we learn how to share the screen, I hope you guys are all doing well out there. I see a bunch of people I'll say hello to. Complicated by Design, Jules, Barbara, Kiki. Let's see who else we got out here. We got a bunch of them. We got Ruth. Hi, Ruth. How are you guys doing? Messages will come a little bit later, but you guys, if you guys are interested in getting a little mini reading, drop your name in the little comment boxes. Say hi to us and all that fun stuff. There's lots of things that are shifting and changing for us right now. All right. Woohoo, there we are.
Hey, can y'all see my screen?
I can see your screen.
Awesome. So the astro.com is just a great free website to do. And I'm just showing y'all real quick where it is for anyone that would like to find it. Astro.com, over here on this top tab row, they have a little thing next to My Astro, and you can create a free profile for an account if you want to start tracking your stars. But if you click on these little symbols next to it, it shows you where all the planets are at any given time. So you can always find out where's the sun today or the moon or whatnot. And then at the bottom, it has a link that says Chart of the Moment. So when you click on that, it gives you a copy of the table that if somebody was born right now, what would their natal chart look like? So this gives everyone an idea of when you go to an astrologer and you give them your birthday and the place you were born and the time you were born, this is what they draw up, and it gives us an idea of where all those archetypal energies are at any given time. So this is the stellar signature for today, and I'll be looking at that to kind of give y'all an idea of what the weather pattern is that we've got going on right now. So we are just entering fall, so this is Libra season. So the sun is in Libra. And there is an opposition to an asteroid called Chiron happening. And Chiron is related to the wounded healer. And in life, it represents this area where we feel the pain of some kind of wound. We also get these healing experiences. And sometimes when the shadow is active, we cause pain. We're that which wounds. So these wounded themes and energies are in Aries, opposition to the sun. So this can be a time where we're working through some kind of personal healing and some kind of wound in either our identity or in relationship to someone else. And we're kind of balancing our sense of identity and who we are and how that interfaces and engages with other people in relationship. The moon today, the moon I call the second hand on the watch because it is the fastest thing in the sky. And it is in Sagittarius at the end right now. So the kind of tone for today might kind of be optimistic, seeking inspiration, exploring other cultures, philosophy, all of that kind of stuff. But there's a little bit of an optimistic kind of explorative quality just in the air. Mercury right now, Mercury is all about our communication and our thinking. And Mercury is in an opposition to the planet Mars. And so when we've got an opposition, we've got two energies that are seemingly from different places, but they're kind of balancing one another. So we're looking to integrate those two differences. But some of the dramas that we can see when we have Mercury and Mars engaged in this way can be some arguments or some differences of opinions that can get heated with other people. So we've got with Mars and Aries, we've got this really strong sense of self-desire right now. Everybody wants to do what they want to do, to be free, to take action. All of this Aries energy with Mars spending so much time in that sign is like we want to just, shoot forward. And then so Mercury, this side and that side, the devil's advocate, the polarity, the duality in the sign of Libra is showing that we might find other people coming forward in our partnerships now that are saying things that are like, yeah, but. And so they're presenting whatever's on the opposite side of the scales in accord with whatever we want to do. And so to the degree that we just want to do it, we might kind of steamroll over that or kind of be angry or forceful about it. But then we want to kind of think about how we can move forward in a way that does take that moderate middle path of moderation. So there's a dance that's going on where other people are going to like challenge in a way what we want by showing the other side. And it's all about how we integrate those two seemingly opposite perspectives and find that path forward, which is playing into some other factors, since both of those planets and that kind of energy now is squared up with what I call the Capricorn cluster. This whole 2020 stuff has been a big deal about Saturn and Pluto meeting where they did, and then all the other parade of planets and stuff that's hit that point too. But it's still lingering with that cluster of Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn at the end of Capricorn, squaring up with the Mercury right now and the Mars long term. So we can talk about kind of that long-term heaviness and how to deal with that in a second. Venus right now is in an awesome kind of position. Venus is currently making a configuration called a yod, which is the fingerprint of God. And so it is in an inconjunct to Neptune and an inconjunct to Jupiter, but those two planets are kind of like a base or a foundation in sextile that are both pointing at Venus. In and of itself, if a planet's inconjunct, it's kind of like needing an adjustment. But when two planets are pointing up with an apex like that, that planet, which is Venus, is expressing kind of this culmination point. And so Jupiter and Pisces, Jupiter and Capricorn, favorable with Neptune and Pisces, is creating a base, a foundation of good morals in how we handle our ambitions and our goals. And that's kind of a symbolic thing for the Jupiter and Capricorn. And then that compassionate kind of selfless, unconditional love regard that's also tied in with spirituality of Neptune and Pisces. So with that baseline right now, those are pointing towards our values, Venus, our relationships, and things that we find attractive and pleasant, which is in Leo right now. And that kind of thing, we're drawing in that which enlivens us, that which makes us brighter, that's playful, it's entertaining, it's that sense of vivaciousness that we equate with the sun. All of those are Leonian qualities. And so Venus in that sign right now is, we value that. We value the play, the fun, the sense of wholeness and authenticity. On its own, that sense with Neptune, it's kind of like, well, how do you make it all about yourself and be selfless? And that little aspect just with Jupiter is, well, how do you make it all about yourself and take on all of these heavy responsibilities? Well, right now we're getting this wave where, with a foundation of integrity and lawfulness and morality and ambition that's just in accordance with the compassion for those less fortunate, the spiritual questing, with that foundation, it's giving us a light to what really is vivacious for us in a way that also enlivens others. So we're learning to value play and fun in a way that makes it fun and playful for others to engage and dance and circulate around the solar system with us. So Venus is having some fun right now. Plus, she is trine Mars and trine the moon. So this is we have a grand trine in the sky right now with Venus, moon, and Mars. Moon in Sag, Venus in Leo, Mars in Aries. Fire trine, it's great right now, like relationship energy. There's some kind of like my values, my taste are vibing with, personal desires and other people's stuff and what emotionally feels good. Because that second hand of the clock of the moon in Sag is saying we want some adventure, we want some play, we want those inspirational qualities before we get into that hard work where, okay, we're going to meet those goals as it starts to enter into Capricorn. So that's a little bit of where the fast planets are in the mix. As we start to talk about Mars, that's the big thing on the chopping block right now. Mars is retrograde, if you haven't heard, and it will stay that way till about November. Mars is also square Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto. And it has been for a bit, and it's going to continue to be for the rest of this year. So because Mars stopped where it did in that square, and it's retrograding, which is moving slowly backward, it's holding this tense position with those planets for a really long time. And that's why this whole second half of the year, really, since around August, all the archetypes related to Mars and the retrograde and Mars square Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter are active in the collective. It's the weather pattern. It's like there's an energetic hurricane outside. You can still go out and see the sun and all these things, but It's a pretty heavy weather pattern that matches kind of the beginning of the year's other side. But there is a silver lining. I always like to find the unicorn hiding in the manure. And there is definitely a way to deal with it that is in everybody's best interest. But let's talk about what some of the symptoms of this configuration is right now, because it's a little blocked, it's a little constipated, it's a little angry, it's a little volatile. It's got all of these kind of qualities that are putting a lot of pressure on everybody. So as we already talked about, Mars and Aries, our desire nature, our take action, go forward thrusters, want to just do what we want to do. They want to do what's raw with our sense of energy, vitality, just go forward without anything blocking the way. And if something's blocking the way, barrel through it. On its own, when we think about, any astrologers or astrology enthusiasts out there, when you look at things like Mars square Saturn or Mars square Pluto, those are some big heavy things on their own. They're both happening simultaneously, and we're adding in square Jupiter. Square Jupiter is the best of those three combinations. What that does is that kind of gives us a lot of oomph. So it takes that desire nature we have, and it's challenged by abundance. It's challenged by growth. It's challenged by exploration. So we have this buildup of energy that we want to build all these big things with. We have all this ambition. We have all these goals and all these things we want to undertake and create and build. So it's compounding and exaggerating by squaring Jupiter. By squaring Saturn, it's getting blocked. Mars square Saturn is putting obstacles, impediments. It's disciplining the way that we take action and move forward. And so Mars square Saturn can feel like this time where like I'm pushing and pushing and pushing and nothing's getting done or nothing's getting through. So it's got connotations of frustration, and that frustration can build up unconsciously to things like agitation and combativeness and cruelty and all of those types of things. Mars square Pluto is an aspect that I talk about a lot when I see Mars square Pluto, conjunct Pluto, opposite Pluto in a natal chart. It's fairly common that abuse has been some part of the story, and I've looked at it as far as that aspect, that energy is around when somebody's boundaries are getting severely gone over. Someone's getting severely overridden by someone else. And so there's a quality that is someone that can be abused, has been abusive, but in its best, it is rallying to empower those who have been disempowered. But some of the symptoms that we see collectively can be situations where other people's control, other people's manipulations, there's like entanglements that are putting us at ends with other people and power, people holding power over other people, people abusing their positions of power. So all of these power games and shadow issues. With Pluto, we have the unconscious, we have obsessive, compulsive shadow things that are getting purged. There's a silver lining there, but it's an intense, purgative kind of like boiling water type of energy that's happening right now for the rest of the year. And so when you put all of those together, everybody's kind of at a boiling point. And if you've noticed that people seem more pugnacious than normal, or that you seem like you've had a shorter fuse and you've been not willing to take but so much and all this, there's a lot of shadow boxing going on. And people are trying to assert their authority, sometimes over other people or, against these other people. And it's very easy to polarize right now. And what's going on with Pluto, we talk about these symptoms and fighting, but you can't talk about this without looking at a spiritual component. And then all of these energies that are related to the shadow, whatever traumas and wounds we have that are not healed and digested, are kind of bubbling up right now. Collectively, anything that hasn't been done with that's related to the shadow, that's been unconsciously self-destructive, running on obsessive compulsive repeat, is bubbling up. And it's ugly and it's scary and it's got all of these things that's getting everyone in touch with their shadow. So whatever your personal wounds in the past, your childhood trauma, your fears, your insecurities, everyone's expressing it. And some people that maybe don't look within and whatnot, the more we don't go within, the more that we try to fight it off out there, kill the beast, you know, destroy the monster. So we externalize this thing and the shadow and are attacking something out there. And there's plenty to battle right now out there. But everybody, the real juice of this battle to be a spiritual warrior is kind of knowing when to take action, what to engage, and what not to engage. And it's really about the drama. There's an addictive quality to the unconscious drama that keeps us entangled in other people's motives, other people's manipulations. And sometimes we don't even realize we're in it, you know, other people's story. So it's really a time that's best served for incubating our desire, Mars retrograde, not taking action externally, take action internally. Incubate and burn through our desire of what we want to do and make it about what we want to do with ourselves, not how we want to, how we're going to navigate that out there, or how we're going to, you know, surmount the obstacle. There's a lot of things to fight or to try to break through right now, but it's like beating on a wall that won't go down externally until we digest whatever's coming up on the inside. That's our shadow. And so that's a big weather pattern that we're all experiencing right now with the Mars retrograde square that cluster. So I felt like I've been like on a rant for a minute. Does anybody have any questions, or is there anything?
Well, I'm going to jump in there and say that you just validated everything that I've been saying to people, just using different words. So that just shows that we're all on the same page about everything that's going on right now. And, you know, it's just like you gave a lot of information. You're always so full of so much information, which is very helpful because, you know, especially when you started talking about the Aries, you know, because I'm an Aries, and then, you know, I'm extra motivated when we're in any kind of Aries thing going on, or Mars or whatever, just, you know, zaps me full of more energy than I ever thought I had. So it's all interesting how these all play together and how it's playing out on Earth as well, right? Because this is a spiritual war that we're playing out on Earth. And it's right. It's about going inside. You need to bust out of here to be able to bust through those walls that are going on out there. Yeah. Because if you don't have it here, you can't do it out here.
Yes, there's no way to cheat your level of consciousness. There's no way to cheat when it comes to your vibration. Where you are is where you are. So there's a lot of energies that will try to manipulate how somebody perceives that things are. And so there's all of these posturings about like, what can we keep concealed in the dark? How much can we? And this is a time frame where all that dark, you know, there's so much light coming in now, there's no more room for dark. It's going out of fashion. It's going out of style. It's expiring. And so it's getting eliminated and transformed, but we're seeing really what this time signature is with what Mars is doing now. It's purging by bringing all of these, this unconscious clutter that we've karmically accumulated over a long time. It's bringing it up and out. But it's clinging. There's a stuckness to it where it's like not wanting to go. And so we're in that stage kind of for the rest of this year where it's trying to create chaos or drama or whatever can keep us believing that we have to hide, to keep things in the dark. We don't want to see, don't want to know. All of those kind of energies are nagging, and it can come through other people that are trying to like, no, you shouldn't do that, or you should be afraid of this. And collectively, we have got like what's happening at this time. You have, all of this virus stuff that has fear, all of the protest stuff that has anger, all of the fires and stuff. All of these energies are, if you're not in touch with whatever your fears or insecurities, when it gets down to survivalism, when it gets down to whatever, things are pushing everybody's buttons so that we can, see the boogeyman and burst through the other side. And so this is like a last rally of things that are distractive, things that are hidden, manipulative, corrupt. The whole beginning of this year, Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn is ending corruption of leadership in a sense. So but it's exposing it too, and it's how we're leading. How are we leading our own life? And you can't point but so many fingers at them without, we all share something. So we have to find what files in our system need to be defragmented and, corrupted files that we replace, whether it's self-defeating, thought patterns, ways that we self-sabotage, that we keep ourselves afraid, or all of these things, we're clearing all of these emotional patterns that have been held on to, they've been clung to, and they're kind of clearing. It's like rebooting the memory. The silver lining, because, this is some hard, heavy energy. And when I was coming on your show, I was like, oh my gosh, it's called Joyful Findings. Like, what do I do with all of this, like, hard, heavy, dark, weather? But there is a silver lining, too, in that we have a really big rainbow at the end of this year on December 21st, which happens to be the winter solstice. But that's kind of just a synchronization with the fact that Jupiter and Saturn will be meeting at that time at the very beginning of Aquarius. And why is that a big deal? That's a big deal because those two planets represent our social tone. And when two planets are conjunct, it's kind of like a new moon. It's a conception. When they're opposite, it's more of like a culmination. But so it's a new social tone that will take us the next 20 years. And so anytime we have the principle of growth and expansion and then discipline and contraction joined, it's kind of like a seed for what kind of echoes forward. Well, yeah, Aquarius is great and all, but what makes it special is that those two planets have only met in Earth signs for our entire life. So, like, astrology enthusiasts, check this out and go, and like, this is like awesome. They've only met in Earth signs for our entire life, except once back in the 80s when they met in Libra, and that was a mutation, because the way that this grand cycle works is that those two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, meet in the same element every time for a long time, like over 200 years. It's a long cycle. So they've met in Earth signs our entire life, and then they mutate when they were in Libra back in the 80s, and then they go back and do their regular dance, and they were back in Taurus, I think, and in Earth again. Well, they are meeting at the end of this year, at the beginning of Aquarius, at 0 degrees, and they will only meet in air signs for the rest of our life, unless we have some kind of regenerative technology that keeps us in these bodies for a lot longer. It's 200 or so years before it will mutate and then dip into the water. Well, that's big time things. So the longer that time things, big weather patterns have the most kind of collective sway. What does that mean? That means that we have existed in a material Earth. We've been in an Earth paradigm for many, many generations. That is materialism. That is the age of industry. It's mechanical. It's how do we scientifically understand, know, and manipulate the 3D world of matter. And we have collectively, consciously taken that journey as far down into the depths of being one with matter that we identify with it. We've gotten lost down here because we identify with matter. And we've thought, it only matters what you can do with all of these objects that we put into motion to mechanically make things happen. We've gotten great at the mechanical nature of technique. We have the physical technology. Well, air is going to burst us into the sky. This next grand cycle is all about how consciousness and humanity is, we talk about the age of Aquarius. This meeting at the beginning of Aquarius is kind of symbolic of what I would say is the most Aquarian golden time we're collectively ushering into. But just the air, they're always going to meet in Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. The air quality is freedom. It's circulation, like breath. Like, how funny this year, as everything is like crunching and evil is like, whatever, that the themes of like a virus where you can't breathe, cover up, this virus, no breathe, and then the protest where I can't breathe is the energy that's coming through our ears. So the breath, it's like it's stifled, and we've done it to ourselves in some weird quasi-spiritual way. We've agreed to so much enslavement, and we've shackled ourselves to matter, to physicality, where we're serving it rather than it serving us. So we got to flip how we're working this matter, because it's become self-destructive. It's gotten gridlocked. It's too rigid, and it's breaking down. And there's lots of places we can point the fault lines, but the faulty foundation that lacks integrity is crumbling. And something new is being reborn. Air paradigm brings us new technology and new energy. The air is electric with Aquarius. It is time for new technology, new energy sources, circulation, equality. It's also flight. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, the technology I'm expecting in the next bit involves teleportation, telepathy, all of these things. But we're going to have a round of new energy and stuff, and we're going to have to temper. The next big challenge facing humanity is going to be around AI, and how is technology serving us, or is it keeping us from our biological abilities, etc. But we're ready to be free with this air paradigm, and it's very much the brotherhood, sisterhood, the equality, holding hands of humanity that comes in, and the idea of taking flight. I mean, I'm hoping for ET contact and just more revelation, space travel. All of those kind of things feel like we will see them hatch out as this kind of earthy egg of materiality we've gotten stuck in. Like, it's cracking open, and we've got a lot of stuff to get excited for.
That's awesome. You lit me up, which means I got goosebumps several times while you've just been talking in this last little section about what we have to look forward to, right? And all those breakthroughs. And how you didn't know how you'd get into the joyful findings. You're right there right now, man. You know what I mean? Spirit will lead the way, no worries. Because this is what I've been telling everybody. And the part about, where you said we'd live another 100 years or 150 years. Well, I had a palmist read my hand one day, and he told me I'd live to 150 to 200 years old. And I go, well, dude, I'm almost 50 now. So that means I'm going to live to another 100 or 150 years old. So I do believe that's true, because I want to be able to stay on this earth to see all the things that need to change, that I'm here to help with those changes now. And just like everybody that's in my little chat list right now and that listens to us later, they're all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat here, down here, to make those connections, to make these new changes, right? Because, and it's funny because I drew the Tesla coil last week on my show. You know what I mean? I didn't mean to, but it just happened. So about the new energies are coming and the space travel, I believe so wholeheartedly in that. It's just like, I'm ready. Bring it on. I keep saying that every day. I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready. I've been saying that for years now, but I know it has to all happen in divine time. But you just helped lay out a little bit more of that timeline. So that's helpful. Thank you, Nathaniel.
That's awesome. Yeah, we all are down. The reason we've got such a populated planet in 3D clay mode right now in these little bodies is because we are here to watch this experiment of consciousness. Is really about self-realization, self-awareness, like this consciousness graduating. Like, basically Saturn either breaks things down that don't have integrity, or it graduates up a notch, up the mountain. So there's a graduation, and you either pass or fail Saturn's test. And then don't worry, if you fail, you get to do it over again. But there's also a graduation party that's about to happen. And there's such a density of mass, of consciousness, of people on the planet for various reasons. But the reason the party's so big is that we all want to see this actualization of spirit enlivenment, this next step in taking on these spiritual, non-physical, we think about spiritual, non-physical, and embodying them into the vessel of physicality. So it's really a marriage of the two. All of the religious doctrines and such that we have that create the fear and the fire and brimstone and all that divorce spirit from matter, where the flesh is evil and bad, all of that sets up a root polarity that we see acted out through, gender wars, or all the schisms, political affiliation. So all the schisms where there's two sides butting heads, which astrologically, I really think opposition. Sometimes those planets will butt heads until they learn that, hey, we're actually married. And so it's this journey of seeing, the language is like the kingdom of heaven on earth, and we are what create it. We are all conscious creators. We have these ideas, these imaginings. Everything starts in this mental plane of inside. It starts inside, and then we take action. We externalize. We create a tool. We technique. We gather resources, and we create things. And so we're all down here creating, and we're all turning online. What's happening now with all the light happening? Like 2012, things got as dark as they could get in a big way. 2012, and now the light has started. It was as dark as it could get. Now it's starting to get a little bit lighter. And here in 2020, it was like a power surge, where like a quick burp that flushes out a lot of stuck, and it accelerates very quickly after that. But we're getting into this zone, if you will, this time period of time and space where there's more and more and more light, and darkness just can't keep everything in boxes. Darkness wants to keep putting another veil, putting another shield, putting another buffer to keep things hidden, and it just can't do that. Everybody's got too much awareness. Information is free. Freedom is what reigns. Freedom and truth is what has power. Everything else has been how to manipulate it to serve some self-interest, and that's out of style. It's out of fashion now. And I have joked, if anyone out there is familiar with some of the lore, if you will, that, you know, supposedly, like, you know, the slave planet mentality, that we're all down here and we've been suppressed into not understanding ourselves and not using our full gifts and our full nature and all of that, and that we've been, you know, recycled and reincarnated here over and over again, and just gotten more and more lost and materialized and all of that. And then, you know, so to the point that we put out a calling for freedom. So more and more ETs have said, hey, I'll take one of those earthy body things and do the dance and get everybody to remember and get everybody online. So we've gotten all of these our brothers and sisters and starseeds that have created more, and then they got stuck. And then we have more stuckness here. But the joke is on whatever wants to keep things stuck, because all of these light workers getting grounded down here has created a huge anchor of light. We have anchored so much light to the planet now that it's like it's ready to implode, like a starburst supernova of consciousness, where the amount of light workers in consciousness is just brightening. So we are all working on this together, and no matter how it polarizes, where, you know, it's them against us and they've been trying to stop us and all, like, we're collectively, the joke's on us all, we're doing it to ourselves, and we're all coming out of it together. We're all waking up to, like, oh, what have I been, like, it's all like we've been in a drunk stupor collectively for a long time, and the more that the light turns on, the faster we're all accelerating with our growth and evolution. And after, I kind of think after the end of this year, if you will, a lot of the stuff that has been keeping us holding on to that materiality is gone, so that, I mean, there's not going to be any friction about moving forward. Before we've done something now, we've had to contend with all of these grumbles and the inertia of, what about this? And this could go wrong, or all of these negative thoughts and patterns that are going to stop perpetuating as much after the end of this year. And while we may still, like, will generate that thought because we've done it so long, we'll have to relearn our way out of it, but we're not going to have as much energetic pressure to stay in that negative zone of stuff. It's more of a accelerated growth and enlivenment, and just things are turning online in a lot of ways.
Yay! And I love how you can validate everything that I say. I'm even just by what you say, you know, it's about not listening to outside influences. What are you the creator of? Because you're the own creator, right? Don't listen to the outside influences anymore. They've already sent us down some bad roads already, and it didn't resonate with us in the first place. So when all that resonates inside of you, it's like, oh, that's my truth. That's my truth. It's like helping really uncover a lot of that truth that we've had going on.
It's one point that comes up, like living your truth and doing your desire. Here's where we're getting tested in this Mars square everything energy right now, is your desire, you wanting to take charge and do what you want. Right now, everybody's blocked. It's retrograde, it's square. Why is it blocked? Because we can't just barrel forward impulsively in this direction. We really need to spend some time thinking, where are we pointing this Mars thing, and why are we pointing it there? What are we trying to achieve? And we have to battle with any kind of shadows that are not us taking desire and action in our best and highest truths for our highest self. And everybody has to look at, are we doing things because somebody else told us to and they have power over us? We're trying to control what someone else's do and have power over them. And we're learning this ultimate lesson in the universe, that everything we do has to be done with love. do no harm is such a fundamental root of things that, even when harm is caused accidentally or what, the universe finds a way to digest and assimilate that experience for greater good, but it's holding everybody a lot more severely accountable now. The younger and the more naive we are, we can, make a lot more mistakes, but when we have the maturity of knowing, we take action in ways that we know are us and our freedom that doesn't impinge on anyone else's freedom. And so we're learning how to create our world without having to either rely on someone else's world or control someone else's world in order to do our world. Those two directions we can stray into wanting to have power over or feeling powerless under. And those two dramas create all of these got tos and entanglements with those forces that keep us from doing what we can do when we're doing it in alignment with our best and highest self. When we're going forward through our true self of what we desire that is enlivening, what our true self wants enlivens us, it enlivens others. It's like turning on a sun bulb. When we do us, it turns us on, it turns other people on. It's the right temperature. It's not too cold, it's not blinding and too hot. It's enlivening like sun on a warm day. When we do that, the universe gives us green lights. And the green lights are coming, but and personally, individually, anybody can have their green light anytime when their consciousness is in alignment. But collectively, the weather is saying a lot of people have got to go back and think about what their desires are, what they've been doing. And there's a lot of gears that have gotten gridlocked from compounded interest, compounded decisions that have gotten made that have locked things up as we sort through what have we been doing that hasn't been serving us and it hasn't been serving others. So all the ways that the collective has been working against itself is coming to an end as this year ends. So we're reorienting. What do we desire? How do we want to live, thrive, and enliven? And like I said, we've got that great winter solstice to look forward to. Early on into next year, Mars is done with the retrograde, and Mars is going to conjunct Uranus. And Uranus is the planet of lightning, awakening, liberation, freedom, all of that. So it's like after this half a year where Mars has been like, I want to go forward, and I want to go forward, and had to do all that dance. After it's kind of gotten the direction thing fixed, it's when it meets Uranus, it's like, I'm going forward. And it's an electric kind of more freedom than you know what to do with. So we're reorienting how we want to be free, what we value, what we desire, so that we can own it when it's in Taurus with Uranus. We're going to own it and accumulate and develop it. But we really need to be clear about how we're moving forward and who we are moving forward before then. And we've got to battle with whatever the authorities are, whatever the rules and the authorities we've been listening to, and subject. The whole objectivity and subjectivity. What have we been subjective to, and have we been subjecting ourselves to objects like money or, all these kind of things are coming into play.
It's fantastic. I'm excited. Let's do this. But I guess we got a little bit of time to wait. That's why I'm always like, hurry up and wait. We have to have patience, and it'll be soon. Okay, it'll be patience. Have patience, and it'll be soon. Okay, so you want to tell everybody how to get a hold of you, Nathaniel?
Yes, I can share my screen one more time too. My website.
She'll pop it up.
My website is
there it goes, right there.
Oh, cool. Ledintogold.com. So that's my main website, and that has, links to my Instagram, my Facebook. I've got some YouTube videos out there. I also am doing some live events online over the next few weeks. I'm working in Sarasota, Florida with Wild Ginger Apothecary and Spirit University and Elysian Field. So I'm trying to circulate and put myself out there for anybody that would like to find some insight. And the best deal that I really have is through something called Patreon, which is linked under the online offerings on my website. But patreon.com/ledintogold is a subscription I'm offering people that for $11.11 a month, you get full access to my content that's only there and 30% off your one-on-one sessions with me. So my rate is on my website, but you get 30% off that as a Patreon subscriber. Plus, I do a monthly forecast for each sign that we're in. I write one metaphysical article on an esoteric topic, and then I do a zodiac files kind of thing where I take a topic and I run it through all 12 signs to show how that archetype integrates with it. Plus, I do one online class, which I then record and you get the link to. I also do a live card reading for my subscribers once a month. And then we have an Astro Talk where, it's just question and answer and anything people want to talk about. So I call that my best kept secret, because that is one of the best ways to get plugged in with what I have to offer all the way. But I look forward to anybody out there that's interested in astrology, learning more about themselves, and kind of, exploring the stellar signature of what's going on in their life in a way that kind of provides more insight on it.
I love it. Thank you. And I love that you're doing the 11/11 and giving them 30% off too. That's awesome. That's way awesome. I really enjoy that. So let's give a couple readings since we got about 15 minutes left. We gave them a lot of information. Now let's try to help them out a little bit. So you want to explain how you roll the dice and what that does and all that stuff?
So I use a set of dice called Astro Dice, where they have 12 sides. One of them is all the signs. One is the numbers 1 through 12 for our 12 houses, and then one of them is the planets and the nodes. And so I will roll those 3 dice into a container and see what shows up. Those 3 it's like they write a sentence. I think about what area of your life, what themes, what energies that is indicating, and depending on if someone just says, hey, what do you roll for me, I will just say I'll express that energy that way. If someone says relate it to this, or they have a question, I can interpret it in the context of that, because I find when we do divination type of stuff like that, it's very responsive to intention. So like what you put into it is kind of what you go in and extract out of it. So that's kind of how I work with those. And depending on how many we have, there's some cards I can put into play later too.
All right, cool. If you want to shoot for one, I'll just pick out a name.
Yes, just give me a name.
Let's go for Kiki.
Kiki. All right. All right, so Kiki, the energies that are coming through for you at this time are related to Neptune, Pisces, and the 5th house. So the 5th house is the Leo department of life, which is related to our fun, our creativity. It's also children, and it's also romance and dating. So it's that zone of your life that it's then about. With Libra, it's about finding kind of balance and beauty within. So how are you finding the beauty and the balance within what's fun for you, or how you're engaging with children, or also how the dating scene? What are your ideals if you're looking for qualities that you value interacting within some type of partnership or balancing type of situation? Neptune is bringing in the tinge of spirituality, and it's also kind of calling towards exploring the imagination. So this is also an idea of kind of dreaming or exploring, and kind of spirituality in the mix when it comes to your ideas of beauty and harmony relating to your sense of fun, pleasure, and enjoyment, children, and or your romance and dating scene.
That's beautiful. I love that. Since we don't have a lot of time, I'm just going to let you give the messages today, because they hear from me every week. So let's pick out Mimi.
Mimi. All right, Mimi. Let's see what energies are coming forward. Mimi, you have gotten Uranus in Sagittarius in the 7th house. So the 7th house is it's the Libra part of our life. It's about your one-on-one relationships. It's about your partnerships. So these are people that you have one-on-one interface with. So in the partnerships in your life, that can be a romantic partner or whoever you've got that kind of one-on-one contract with. It is indicating Sagittarius, which is about growing and exploring that quality. It's also philosophical or spiritual debates and truth with that. So it could be a time that you are partnering with spiritual people, or you're having those one-on-one discussions and all of that nature. And then Uranus is the random card. Uranus is saying that these things might be happening spontaneously, all of a sudden, someone that is unusual, unconventional, unorthodox, that there's something exciting about exploring foreign cultures, foreign perspectives, foreign philosophies, beliefs, and ideas through one-on-one encounters with people that you have. And those, again, can be romantic partners. They could be foreigners with Sagittarius, but it's just exploring exciting, new, awakening ideas and beliefs through your one-on-one partnerships.
Woo, that sounds like a lot of fun. That'll be fun for her. Thanks, Nathaniel. Let's move on to the next one. Let's do complicated by design.
Complicated by design. All right, so complicated by design, I have rolled for you Saturn in Taurus in the 11th house. And so the 11th house is the zone of our life that's related to our friends and the groups and the organizations that we're a part of, as well as kind of our hopes and wishes for how we want to see society become and what we want to contribute. So it's kind of like our hopes and dreams for contributing to society through our friendships and like-minded groups and associations. So that quality. With Taurus in that area, it's talking about really owning and developing that, having a really firm sense of these are the groups that I support. These are the organizations that I want to develop and that I find value in sustaining. So it's that sustainability related to those groups and organizations that are like-minded, as well as kind of owning and developing and standing rock steady on whatever it is that you want to develop and contribute for society. Saturn is saying with this combination that there could be something related to your career about that work, or something that like you're willing to put in some hard work right now. It's working hard with discipline, the contract kind of contracting energy of buckling down and getting really serious about how you are developing and owning those friendships and those contributions that you're making that you want to see for humanity at large.
Woohoo! Loving that. Can't say see what she comes up with next. That's awesome. I love it. Yay, Nathaniel. You ready for another one?
Awesome.
All right. Someone named Melissa Bryant. It's not me this time. That's why I said her last name. So
all right. So this is Melissa Bryant. Melissa Bryant, you are having Moon in Aries in the 12th house come up. The 12th house is the Pisces zone of our life, which is related to the unconscious. And so the 12th house is sometimes like a part of us that we don't even realize. It's the unconscious. It's related to spirituality. It's very private. It's that place where we get in touch with our one-on-one rapport with God or source that we don't have to go through anybody else. So it's that quiet meditative kind of place in the unconscious zone of our life. In Aries is saying that there is a lot of raw energy in there that's got your identity in the mix. Aries is about our self-identity. So there's a strong charge that you could, and this could translate to being very devoted to other people, devoted to spirituality, but wanting to take action and feeling really energized in that way. Some of this could also be some unconscious initiation where like you don't even know why you want to really do that or feel fired up in that direction, but you've got a strong like impulsive urge to either do something for others, explore spirituality, go within, all of those qualities. And then you have the moon on top of that. So that brings in qualities that it could have things to do with either your home, your family, the mothering quality, either through your mother or you as mother, but it's also our emotional self. So something about your inner nature, your inner emotional life, your home, that's really got a signature to your desire and your identity that you're expressing either spiritually or getting really in touch with emotionally at this time as you're kind of coming to terms with the conscious side of some of your more unconscious identity aspects.
Wow, you're just really rocking and rolling, Nathaniel. That's awesome. All right, let's get Jeremy Ryden a roll. He wants a roll.
All right, this is Jeremy Ryden. All right, Jeremy Ryden, you are getting Moon in Leo in the 10th house. So the 10th house is related to our career, our social standing, our reputation. It's how the world sees us. It's that Capricorn sense of what we want to master and attain in this world. How do we want to be known? And so that ambitious drive has got flavors of Leo about it. So with Leo, again, Leo, we can have things to do as fun, entertainment, playfulness, children. So all of those qualities kind of coming forward as either like how you're known or part of a goal or ambitions that you have at this time. Leo is all of those things that it's the fun. It rules fun. So whatever your talent, your unique creative expression, whether it's music or art or whatever you enjoy creating and you find fun, it's putting that into the limelight of how you want to be known, being known for your creative endeavors. And then the moon, again, moon is that inner emotional piece. So there's an emotional need of some way, you would emotionally feel more secure in some way, being able to express your creativity, your fun, your entertainment, your joy through your career, through the way that the world is able to see you. And then the moon in the 10th house also has a flavor of working for the masses, wanting to be seen and appreciated by the masses, or for your work, for your career, for your ambitions and the goals that you accomplish. So that's what's coming forward in that insight for you, Jeremy.
More fun. You gotta love that. You gotta love that. And Melissa just responded, awesome, exactly what I'm going through. Yes, been going through a spiritual journey right now, honing in on my gifts. Thanks so much. And she's a Pisces, so that's awesome.
I think
Melissa would be so spot on. All right, Lisa Johnson, give her a roll.
All right, Lisa Johnson. Yeah. Lisa Johnson, today you are getting a roll of the Sun in Virgo in the 3rd house. The 3rd house is the Gemini quadrant of our life, and so that has to do with our thinking, our communication. If we have siblings, it can be those relationships, and it also involves transportation, moving things around, the neighborhood, the local community. So the local community, how we communicate, and all forms of communication, and those kind of those interactions with people where information is getting exchanged. So the information hub of our life. With Virgo there is a need for systemization, organization, fine-tuning, and bringing practicality or work and service in through that dimension. So there could be a way that, there's a lot of movement around the town, or with communication going all over the place when it comes to the workplace now, or when it comes to self-improvement. Virgo is the self-improvement, making us healthy refinery, that you could be learning things about health at this time, or learning new skills and information related to your work, since Virgo's in that zone. Since it's the Sun in that zone, this is about your identity. So as you are learning these new skills and communicating yourself in more practical ways and learning practical skills, it's really building kind of an energetic resume of who you are and what you know and what you can do with what you know. So this is shining a light on who you are and your identity, as how you improve yourself, how you serve others, and what you're learning in the mix and communicating in the mix of that.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. These are wonderful messages to help all of you move forward, right? It's like little inspiration. And I think they really like that. It's just a roll. Like it's the luck of the draw. You know what I mean?
Let me real quick, just like when I think about different forms of divination, what's astrology versus dice versus cards versus psychics? It's all different things. And so with cards and dice and all, there's this like in the moment, what insight is coming forward, kind of like a lightning bolt of intuition. What's there? What's now? Astrology is like the weather. It's moving. It is where it is. It was where it was. And so it's interpreting what's unfolding in a lifetime way. And then with psychic things, I joke that, psychics work in the water and astrologies work in like the electric air. But psychics, when you have mediums and channels and psychics, they are getting impressions and images and sounds and these ways that they're communicating and channeling what they're seeing. So it's all different modalities and different ways of accessing those insights. And we're using each other as mirrors, and it's got this ring of timing and intentionality to it. So, you can get a message from, I'm sure some of you have gotten a message from a song playing on the radio at the right time. The universe winks and works in mysterious ways, and just have fun with it.
It's true. Just like when you say that, the music might be playing, or the number shows up, or the word shows up in front of you, or the article shows up in front of you that has that specific thing that you're looking for the information. All the information really is just flowing in front of us very quickly right now to help us remember who we really are.
Exactly. Is there anybody else out there?
You want to do one more before we go? We got 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
All right. Do Elena.
Elena, I am coming through with you with Uranus in Aquarius in the 9th house. The 9th house is opposite the 3rd house. It's also a learning point, but it's about our higher education and synthesizing information. It's like going to college and putting together all of these different pieces of information. So it translates as studying spirituality, foreign cultures, foreign travel, all of that kind of foreign integration of higher wisdom and knowledge. Uranus is saying that you might have some unexpected trips or some unexpected or unusual new ideas and beliefs presenting themselves, or some new and wild adventures that are expanding in some way what your framework of putting things together is. With Aquarius there, it's pulling in kind of friendships, doing it with groups, unusual groups, or like groups that are studying spirituality or foreign cultures, or groups that are traveling together. And then I have to go ahead and say Uranus rules Aquarius, and Aquarius is the sign that rules astrology. And so I don't know if you've had a curiosity in astrology, but this is a signature that could say a radical, spontaneous study of something new like that, new philosophies and ideas and expansive spiritual beliefs.
Beautiful. And that pretty much wraps up our hour. So I want to thank Nathaniel for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you guys for having me.
You're welcome. If you guys want anything further from Nathaniel, definitely check out his website. And, if you guys need me, you know where to find me every Wednesday at 1 here. And I'll definitely have Nathaniel back. This was a lot of fun with him rolling the dice for everybody, and everyone seemed to enjoy that. So definitely plan on coming back again, Nathaniel. That would be awesome.
Thank you. I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I just want to say goodbye, and you guys have a fabulous week, and I'll see you all next week. See ya.
Bye. Thanks.
Become a Goldylocks Productions VIP patron. Receive exclusive access to live stream special and other epic perks. Join the Goldylocks Productions VIP community today.